Patrick Caulfield, an artist study and painting activity. Patrick Caulfield was an English painter and printmaker associated with the pop art movement. He is known for bold images created in an attractive graphic style. We will look at his painting entitled After Lunch 1975 and respond to it with our own pop art interpretation painting. This painting shows a dull flat scene of a restaurant with bold thick black outlines, perhaps indicating a dullness to everyday life in contrast to the brightly coloured photorealistic landscape out of the window. Perhaps this shows the artist longing to be someplace other than where he is currently, perhaps in this restaurant. The expression on the waiter's face also appears to be one of slight despair and gloom, which adds to the mood in the restaurant. How do you think the colours add to the mood of this painting? In this activity, we will respond to Patrick Caulfield by creating a style similar to his. If you have a look at the window layer and the style of it is very similar to his style, with the use of big, thick, black bold lines and then almost a photorealistic sky. For this activity, the materials you need is a combination between thick paints for the Patrick Caulfield window. If you've got acrylic or poster paint, that will be ideal. And then if you do have watercolours, that will be best for the background sky. However, if you only have acrylic or one type of paint at home, you can get away with it. You will also need a pair of scissors, paint brushes, one thick and one thin, a big black marker pen, pencil, water pot, tissue, a ruler and your sketchbook. The first step is to start with the background sky. We're going to start with horizontal brushstrokes using watercolour paint, very thin layers of paint, lots of water, and going from right to left and fully cover the top to the bottom until it covers with a light sky blue colour. Next, take a tissue and dab away some of the blue background to make some cloud. Keep in mind this effect will only happen if the background is still wet, so make sure it is wet when you're absorbing that paint. If you have white acrylic paint or poster paint at home, use a touch of that on the end of your tissue and dab away at the clouds to make them appear more fluffy. Now let your sky set and dry while we work on the window. Take a separate piece of paper, a ruler and a pencil, and I'm just using the thickness of my ruler to create a border here, and then I'm going to double up on the bottom and then split the two windows in half. I'm going to have two windows here with long sort of rectangular windows to peer out at my background sky. And then I'm going to do these diagonal little bits here, go across to show that it is a 3D appearance, and pretty much there you have it. Oh, and also I will split that again in half just to show that the doors of the windows open out. Next, take your thick red paint and just paint around the shape that you have drawn around the outsides. You may have to do 2 to 3 layers. Make sure you add water to your paint so that it makes it nice and smooth, and let the layers dry in between painting. After this, we will paint the inner window area, and this will create a nice 3D effect. I'm using almost a fluorescent pink paint, but on second glance of this, I realised the contrast was not as strong as I wanted, so then I added some white to the pink just to make the colours pop a little more. You may also have to add 2 or 3 layers depending on how strong you want your coverage. Once the sky painting and the window painting are dry, you're ready to cut it out. So what I'm doing here is taking a pair of scissors and simply cutting a rectangular shape where the white area is, and this will also neaten up any messy areas that we need to neaten up. Once the window has been cut, we're going to add our black Sharpie marker lines to give it that typical Patrick Caulfield look. I'm only going over where the shapes are, just the outlines. We're not adding too much detail, and I'm using a ruler to keep my lines nice and straight. When you finish with your black outlines, then you can take a glue stick and stick your window to the background painting of your sky. In this frame, you will see I decided to add a couple of window handles to make it more realistic, and then I'm practicing the shape of these little birds here. As you can see, they almost look like little V shapes. So before you apply a bird to your sky. Just practice until you're happy with that, and then take some dark brown watercolour if you've got it, and then just add a few bird shapes into the sky, dispersed wherever you like them. We're going to finish this activity taking our glue stick and sticking in the painting once it's fully dry into our sketchbook on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side sticking in the information about the artist, and then you've got that image reference directly supporting your response to his artwork.